Well, boys, I'm back. The SAG AFTRA Mafia has done it again. The Break Your Freaking Kneecaps union has done it again with their mafia-style tactics. Now, these people, these ideologues have been so far under my radar that I haven't exactly been paying attention to the things that they're doing. But this is something that absolutely needs to be addressed and needs to be focused on because they have brought back their Break Your Kneecap style, we're gonna flip a game no matter what style of unionizing things, and I just find it absolutely disgusting. So make sure you like the video if you want YouTube to count your view as a view, and subscribe. I'll keep you updated on all of it. Now this gets a little ridiculous. From the first view, it looks like Bendiskin is, just doing what he's supposed to do, doing his thing, doing what he believes is right with Mega Man Dual Override. He was asked to return to the game, and what do you know, to voice Mega Man, and he goes, yeah, all right, well, I'll do it if you sign a union contract and work underneath, allow me to have union protections. All good. SAG AFTRA's, dropped all the union BS, the mafia BS, where they literally tried to flip the entire gaming industry to go SAG AFTRA union mafia and push all the other unions out and remove all non-union work. But it looked like they had dropped that for a while. Well, it seems that they're back at it again. Well, first and foremost, this is what happened. He was told there were full AI protections in place that guarantee in writing that his voice will never be used for AI development. By the way, that's enough. You don't need a freaking union-backed lawyer to fight something if you have a literal piece of writing saying that they can never use your voice. It's just as unguaranteeable as it is with the union, okay? They're both unguaranteeable because you cannot tell how an AI was trained. But they said with certainty from Capcom that the project will not go union. Yeah, good. We need less union games. But he says, in my heart, I want to believe Capcom would never use AI, but in my head, I'm aware that basically every major corporation is looking to incorporate generative AI to save money. Very fair. All of this is very fair. He's fully within his right to step away from Mega Man, even if it's shooting himself in the foot for ideological reasons, even though he's become some crazed ideologue and would rather shoot himself in the foot than take money and actually, put his voice out there. He's just clutching his voice like it's some jewel that he's too afraid to lose whenever, no matter what, the future is coming. We all know it is. But just before we get into the meat and potatoes of this, what SAG AFTRA's doing behind the scenes, we got to cover what these people say and do and run in defense. Tinko here saying it's frustrating just how successfully unions seem to have been demonized among the gaming community. SAG AFTRA did more damage to unions than anything I could have said, anything Hero Hey could have said, anything Tectone, Asmongold, you name it. Anything any one of these people could have said to damage unions in the gaming community, it was more so done by SAG AFTRA than anyone else. So if you want to blame unions being demonized, blame SAG AFTRA. But he says if anything's a sign that there's a problem, it's how half of the job in anime game voice actors these days is doing the convention circuit grind because the actual jobs pay too little to live on. Well, maybe you should be working more than twice a month. Then you'd have enough money to live on. And if you're not working more than twice a month, then you're not working a job. You're working a part-time job, buddy. But continuing, little creepo, he's a little creepier, little creepo, back at it again. God, I cannot believe I'm giving this guy a platform. But he says the union is comprised of literally thousands of people. People need to stop attributing the actions of a select few of all of SAG AFTRA as all of SAG AFTRA. You're only contributing to the absurdity and exaggerating what little truth there is to what you say. So there is some truth to what I say, huh? There is some truth. We're making moves, people. We're making moves. We've come so much farther than we were a few few months ago. We've come so, they wouldn't say that shit a few months ago at all. Not even in a hypothetical. But to disprove his point, Ben Diskin here is one person. Well, what is over happening on Reddit? Well, I came to Reddit to check out r/Megaman, and I was scrolling down here, and just so happens that after Ben Diskin did this, after he said, I know you're going to give me full AI protections, but you won't flip union, so I just can't work for you. I'm sorry, I just can't work for you. What does SAG AFTRA do? Well, it looks like it's gotten a little crazy, boys, because SAG AFTRA has released a do not work order for Mega Man Dual Override updated on March 10th, 2026. That is right, simply because they would not flip union for Ben Diskin, the union has now told all of its thousands of union VAs that they cannot work for Mega Man, that they absolutely cannot work for for Mega Man Dual Override. More mafia style, break your kneecap style tactics, which is why we got to call it out, because this is insane. It was totally cordial at first. Ben Diskin was doing his thing. He's allowed to refuse. He's allowed to refuse for whatever reason he wants, especially whenever it comes to his contract. And, you can respect that a little bit, but why in the world does that result in SAG AFTRA literally issuing a do not work order for Mega Man? That is beyond that. We saw this with so many companies during the SAG AFTRA strike. So many gaming companies flipped to be SAG AFTRA because they were going for a sweeping, and I mean a sweeping turn of the century monopoly in the gaming industry. And I like to attribute myself with just a little bit of exposing that, just a little bit. I'll take like 0.1% of exposing the SAG AFTRA mafia to the people. But are you kidding me? This was something that everybody saw through from the get-go, and now they're back at it again, where it's comply with SAG AFTRA or you get nothing. Comply with SAG AFTRA or you can have none of our workers, none of our people. Nobody can sign your freaking contract to be Mega Man. And you may say Capcom doesn't care. Well, that's good and all that Capcom doesn't care. I'm sure they care, but that's good and all that Capcom doesn't, that they can hire people other than SAG AFTRA workers. Thank God, because during the SAG AFTRA strike, a lot of people were coerced into signing that contract and getting fucked over by SAG AFTRA as VAs. A lot of them were, and it's a good thing that Capcom has other options. But is there something we want to allow from SAG AFTRA where they can literally just do this kind of thing out in the open? It's crazy. But reading it says Screen Actors Guild America Federation of Television and Radio Artists has issued a do not work order for Mega Man Dual Override. Like they did something so wrong. They tried to give you AI protections. They just gave you everything else but what you actually wanted, which was for them to be flipped union, for your mafia style tactics to actually work. And your VAs are so ideologically captured that they become full ideologues and will shoot themselves in the foot to get SAG AFTRA's, get SAG AFTRA's money and get SAG AFTRA's money right. See what I'm saying? But instructing union members to withhold any voice acting performance work until further notice. The notice published March 9th says the producer failed to initiate the signatory process. Where have we heard that before? Where have we heard that before? You didn't sign with SAG AFTRA. Well, now you can't work with any of our VAs. You are completely locked out. You're completely blacklisted, huh? Maybe I thought blacklisting was illegal. In simple terms, SAG AFTRA says the production has not properly started the process required to become a union signatory project. According to SAG AFTRA, producers must begin that process through its signatory system. Global Rule 1 requires members to work under only union contracts. What do you know? And by the way, 70 to 80% of all voice acting work is non-union work. So what do you know? Everyone was calling out Global Rule 1 whenever the SAG AFTRA strike was happening, saying that it hurts more VAs than it helps because there's such a union, union work is such a small part of the industry. Well, Rule 1 requires members to work only under union contracts. The notice does not indicate how much voice work had already been completed, although we did hear a tiny bit in the Video Game Awards reveal trailer back in December. By the way, another reason why Ben Diskin might have refused working for Mega Man was probably because he was at the end of his allowed time for working non-union work. I think you're allowed to like show up and work for a specific amount of time. You'd have to defer to one of my older videos, but you're allowed to work for a specific amount of time before you have to give the game an ultimatum. And that ultimatum is flip union or I walk. And that is exactly what SAG AFTRA instructed their voice actors to say and do. It is a mafia style tactic, if you don't know, and it is insane that they are allowed to do this. But I have a feeling that that is exactly what happened with Mega Man Dual Override. But what it does show is that there is currently a contract issue tied to the project's union status. What do you know? A contract issue opened. It opened with that Ben Diskin trying thing. If that issue is resolved, the order could be lifted. At this time, there is nothing to suggest the notice would impact Dual Override's overall development. No, it won't, because there are other VAs, but what you're doing is sickening. As it appears to primarily concern the English voice performance side of production, the game remains in development and is still scheduled for release in 2027. Update. Ben, Mega Man's voice actor, has exited the game over union-related concerns. We'll keep an eye on the situation and share any updates from SAG AFTRA or Capcom, but they have not lifted the do not work order. The contract issue, the project's contract issue has now been resolved. Ben Diskin walked away. So why is there still a do not work order on Mega Man? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And so it looks like the curse of the English VAs only working for Mega Man for like a year and never returning. Yeah, it looks like that is going to continue as long as SAG AFTRA keeps doing these mafia style break your freaking kneecaps kind of tactics, okay? And these, by the way, the more ideologically constrained these voice actors become to this my way or the highway kind of stance, the more they become ideologues, the more dangerous it gets for them. The more companies will shift to using AI simply because they do not want to work underneath a union that has a monopoly and can cut them off at any time. They built their business. They want to own their business. They don't want you to own their business, okay? That is insane, especially not SAG AFTRA, who fought the entire industry underneath the guise of, AI is bad and that's why we're doing this. And reality, they were trying to gain a monopoly over the entire industry, also while launching their own, that's right, their own AI voice acting company. Let me know down below what you think about that, boys. Paper or plastic? Paper being good, plastic being bad, baby. I'm gonna go with plastic. I think it's plastic as fuck. They're plastic through and through. They're basically mannequins, boys. These people are plastic from head to toe. They've got work done. They don't even look like normal people. They're all lizard people, and they want you to let them take over the industry. Well, tell me, are you gonna let it happen?